Hello Pisces, welcome to this reading. We're going to be taking a look at the current energy for the sign of Pisces for the week of September 5th. Now do keep in mind that this is a general reading, so take the messages as they resonate, drop the ones that do not, and also check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. Let's go and see what we have here for you, Pisces. Now, I am using the Mermaid Tarot as well as the Keepers of the Light Oracle deck. There are links to all of these decks in the description below if you'd like to pick them up for yourself. I do hope you're doing well. Hope things are going good for you, Pisces. So let's go ahead and let's get all of these cards in view here. We'll take 3 of these Oracle cards to clarify as we go along. And then we'll also put this up here. All right. So Pisces, there's definitely something that I would describe as deep coming in here for you in the future. In fact, 3 of these cards are major arcanas. 2 cards are extremely deep cards here with the World and the Death card. It's not about death and dying, just to be very clear. The Death card's about a transformation. It's about something deep in your life happening. We'll talk about that more as we go along, but should be a big, you have something kind of important here in the future coming in. Do not think it's bad. I just think it's transformative in nature. Some of you have been working through some, you have like the mental health card here, the 9 of Swords. I consider it to be the mental health card. It's a card that can indicate nightmares. Some of you have been working through issues with thoughts because you have 2 Swords cards here in the past. Swords rules thoughts in the tarot. And so for some of you, you've had some racing thoughts. Some of you had some, you've maybe had some excessive thinking and worrying about a situation, which is totally like a normal thing for many people. But I do think that this has been a theme here in the past. The future looks a lot brighter, or it looks very bright for you here. And I think some of you might even be coming out of like a dark place. Not to be too dramatic, but I do think that some of you may be coming out of a dark place. So let's go ahead and let's dive into this a little bit more here. So in the overall situation, you do have this Lovers card. The Lovers card is a positive card. It can talk about really deep relationships in your life. Obviously, this can talk about romantic relationships. This can talk about a love interest. But if you take a look here, you can see that they're kind of looking in the mirror. And I always like to say, well, when I see this card, this can also be about self-love, you know? For me, this drums up images of self-love and giving yourself that, and so I think it's very important that you do give yourself some self-love here at this time. I also think that you know this is the Gemini card, and so you have a lot of air energy here with the 2 Swords and the Gemini card here showing up in the kind of with the middle card as well as these last 2 cards. And so I wonder if some of you are like really, because with air, it's refers to your thought process, right? Just like the swords, air, they're all connected. Swords, air, thought processes. And so it's almost like, I wonder if some of you should maybe rely on the gift that you have, Pisces, which you are an extremely intuitive sign. And I wonder if some of you here need to feel a little bit. I wonder if some of you need to feel at this time. And perhaps there's been something with a relationship that has been troubling you or occupying your space, occupying your energy. And the thing is, you may have an important choice around that area to make here in the future. The Lovers can speak to an important choice in your life. In the past, you have the Knight of Swords as well as the 9 of Swords. So the Knight of Swords is something that happens very quickly. It's an event that comes into your life that is almost chaotic in nature. And it literally can be a card of chaos. But it also can be a card of you taking swift action. Taking swift action and kind of striking while the iron is hot in a much more positive way. The Nine of Swords, as you can see here, this person is in their mind. They are in their head. They are having a nightmare. They're concerned about this, we'll call it demon, whatever. This represents the demons in their mind. This person's having a nightmare. And for me, the Nine of Swords is the true mental health card. It can talk about anxiety, depression, ruminating thoughts, troubling situations mentally going on. And, you know, I do feel like there was an event here in the past that was very hard for you to deal with. I do feel like some of you have been kind of, you may have even had a dark night of the soul type of energy here in the past. There's been something deep that has happened here. But the future is very bright for you. And the reason being is you have this World card and the Death card. So some of you are like, the Death card, what are you talking about? So you can see here that the Death card is really about diving deep. This person can only see what is on the surface, right? They're rescuing an animal here. But take a look at everything that's going on below the surface, right? This is what the Death card is all about. It's everything below. It's diving deep below the surface and finding that meaning. And for some of you here, you're connecting to something greater. You're coming out of this darker place, I think, this period of time that's been challenging here, and you're connecting to something deeper. And you have it with the World card. The World card is a major completion in your life. It is some sort of cycle closing out. It's a very positive card. It's a card of success. This person has the world in the palm of their hand. And the idea of the World card is it's a great time to go into self-reflection and kind of look at the journey that you've been on in a holistic way. And even I think for you, and this is the important part, when you look at the journey you've been on, feel. What does it make you feel? Because for some of you, I think there's a little bit of logic going on here. Some of you may be on the cusp of Aquarius and Pisces, or in other words, you may be a very early Pisces. Like you may be an early degree Pisces, you may have an earlier birthday in the Pisces timeline. But regardless, doesn't matter. For some of you here, what does this journey that you've been on, how does it actually make you feel? I think that's a big thing that's coming in for me at this time. Let's go ahead and take a look at what else we have here. So you have the Fool, you have the Justice card, you have the Ace of Swords, and you also have the Hierophant. All right, so I will say that there's some sort of like karmic situation happening for you here. The Justice card is a card of major karma in the tarot. And I will say if somebody hurt you, just know that your guide's taking care of that, okay? And that's all I have to say. I don't say that in like a way, like I'm not trying to be petty or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that there's like a sort of natural law and order that is happening in the universe. And so if you've been wronged here and you truly didn't do anything to deserve that, that's going to balance out. Okay, that's going to balance out. I do feel like some of you have been wronged here. Some of you feel a little foolish. Okay, I'm going to try to spin the ship around here and make this reading as positive as I can. But I do need to just say that some of you feel a little foolish here with the Fool in the past, an event that happened quickly, you being this mental health card here with the Nine of Swords, and then this Justice card, some sort of karma. I do think that may be on the tip of your tongue, if you will. You're like, you may even be saying that to yourself, like, why was I so foolish, blah, 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 something like that. But this is all kind of working out, especially because I feel like there's maybe been an injustice that happened for some of you here. However, you have the Ace of Swords and the Hierophant. So the Ace of Swords is a breakthrough card. It is something moving ahead. It's an exciting new beginning in one's life, and it's a successful new beginning. So you have success here with the Ace of Swords, the World, and along with that you have this Hierophant card. You can see this person here is hitting the books. They are studying, they're learning, and they're surrounded by knowledge. Now this is the idea. The Hierophant is this idea of tradition. Along with that, it can be a card of marriage. You do have the Lovers and the Hierophant. I think some of you, and I wonder if some of you have like taken a different approach to marriage, or you're like your perspective of what marriage is has changed. I also wonder if some of you are breaking free from tradition because you have this breakthrough energy with the Hierophant. Some of you are like, okay, I've been doing this for X amount of years, and I kind of am still where I am, or like it's just, you know, the results just have not been what you wanted completely. And I think some of you are maybe breaking free from tradition. I think you're being a nonconformist. Okay, I think you're being a nonconformist here at this time. Well, let's get some additional messages. So let's go ahead and take a look at these 3 oracle cards. All right, so you have faith, humanity, and benevolence. Stay calm, trust the good in yourself and others, see the light in the world. You have divine director, intervention and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you're being guided. Happiness is your purpose. You have Mary Magdalene, teacher awakens. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Don't let anything stop you. I mean, there is something about learning here. I just feel like you're learning from the school of life with the Hierophant and the Mary Magdalene. You know, the Hierophant may be like traditional learning from like in higher education. I just don't see that for you. I think you're learning experientially. In other words, you're experiencing something in your life, and this has led you to learn something very important. You have one of the biggest cards for me in this Keepers of the Light deck, the Divine Director. I have seen this card come forward when, you know, all of a sudden you have schedule changes. You know, important people come into your life for a reason. You know, you meet people at the right time. This is the idea of being guided or being directed towards something. And the thing is, you have some sort of challenging event here that happened in the past. And it's almost like maybe, like what I would ask you is like, is there a silver lining in what happened here? I know it's easier said than done, but is there a silver lining here in the past? Let's go ahead and take a look at what else we have. But if you're enjoying this video so far, please do hit that like button and subscribe, as it really does help my channel grow in a big way. So you have the Knight of Wands, you have the Hanged Man, and you have the Hermit. All right, so you do have some big energies here with the Lovers, the World, the Death card, the Hierophant, Justice, the Fool, the Hanged Man. These are, you mostly have, I just realized, you have mostly major arcanas in this reading. And so, like I said, I do think that some of you have gone through a major situation here. The Knight of Wands, you know, this can be something that I'm trying to see how it would connect. Some of you may have been dealing with a player here in the past, because I'm trying to connect this with this challenge message that I've seeing here in the past with the Lovers and the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is somebody who's fun to be around, but they have a lot of suitors, you know, and yeah, they get a lot of interest, and so they can kind of have a reputation of being a player. I do wonder if some of you have been dealing with that type of situation. The Knight of Wands, though, is also about moving. It can talk about moving your location, changing your zip code, changing your residence, something like that. It's also a Swiss Army knife type of energy. You have the Hanged Man and the Hermit here. The Hanged Man asks you to let go. That's the biggest thing with the Hanged Man. You know, if you find yourself being in this like wishy-washy type of energy, the Hanged Man says, wash it all away. It's time for you to just let go and see what happens when you free fall. In fact, you have a really nice combination here of the Hanged Man and the Death card. The Hanged Man needs the Death card, because right now the Hanged Man is resisting a transformation, and the Death card provides the Hanged Man with the transformation they're looking for, number 12 into number 13. You also have the Hermit here, which is asking you to go into a period of introspection. I like that it's aligning here with the World. The World, like I said, is saying here in the future you are completing something important. You are getting a breakthrough. But how does it make you feel, right? How does it make you feel? This is your journey here, Pisces. This is what I feel like you're on right now. You have the Eight of Pentacles, and you also have the Two of Swords. So literally, you have the injustice combination. The Justice card and the Two of Swords can absolutely represent an injustice. This might have been around work in some ways, or, I think this, for many of you, this is about around relationships. The Eight of Pentacles in a relationship situation says either you or the other person is more involved in their work than the relationship. On another level, I think some of you have major skills here. You have major talents here with the Knight of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles. At the top of the pyramid, you have the moon. That can be you. That could also be the literal moon. But the moon is all about listening to the voice of the universe and trusting your intuition here. What do you feel? What do you feel is the question I have for you in this week. And the Magician is the major manifester in the tarot. It says that you have everything you need, all of the abilities that you need to make something amazing in your life. So thank you so much for being here, Pisces. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe. Really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next reading.